Alright, welcome back to another Runes of Magic video. In this video, I am going to be statting a couple pieces of gear. So, first I'm going to dirty stat this hat to finally upgrade from that Ankalon Wisdom hat that you see. And then I'm going to clean stat this nice cape, which is actually a set piece. It goes with this nice shield that I also have. And I've already statted the shield. Shield is really nice for me. That'll hold me for a good long time. And I also statted another jewelry piece. These two are now statted. The rest of these are not yet. I'll get to those. But I'm just going to do these two pieces for now, just to demonstrate how to dirty stat and how to clean stat. So, to stat, you need three things. You need, obviously, a piece of gear to put it on. So ideally you're going to want to find a piece that is OD over durability. Also a piece that already has some good stats on it, or not any stats or very few stats. You can see this one has two stats. It's the Solidity 7 and the Element. Neither one of those is particularly great, but I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to dirty stat this one because it'll still be better than my hat, and I know that I'm just going to wear this until I can get a better purple hat to clean stat for later. So this is just going to hold me over until then. Is a temporary upgrade. This is the hat that I get out of Pasper Shrine, the cloth hat. So that's one thing. The other two things that you need are gear with good stats that you want. So this has a Command X. This has a Stamina X. Those are both good stats that I want. You actually need three of those. Which, if you look in my bank here, you can see here's these Authority 5 stats. These I got out of Mystic Altar. I actually have two of them, but I already put it on a Mana Stone. The reason I did that is because it came with an Authority 5 and that green Solidity 4 stat, which was also on the necklace when I got it. And so what I did was this is the third thing that you need, is a Fusion Stone. So I've got these two that both have a Solidity 4 stat on them. Usually they will have 1, 2, or 3 stats, but these ones each have 1, and they're the same stat. And I already used one to make this a long time ago whenever I got it, because I knew that I was going to use it. So these are my three fusions. These are my 2 Fusion Stones. These are my 2 pieces of gear with stats that I want. And here's one that I already made, a Mana Stone. So the Mana Stone is going to be the intermediate piece. So you're going to use Fusion Stones with your gear to make a Mana Stone, and then you're going to use 3 Mana Stones of the same tier to put those on your new pieces of gear. So here I'm going to do it. This one is already made. I'm going to take this Solidity 4 Fusion Stone and this staff. It is going to make a Mana Stone tier 3 with the Solidity 4 and the Stamina X stat that was on it. And you can see that the staff is a tier 3 staff. That's how you know it's going to make a tier 3 Mana Stone. It will always be the same tier as the item, or sometimes it will be 1 tier higher. Certain pieces of gear, depends on certain levels. There's not a very... it's not a perfect algorithm, so sometimes you have to just check. And I'll demonstrate that later whenever I am doing the cape as well. So I'm going to go ahead and hit confirm, and I'm going to make this. Now, for this, the third piece, it doesn't matter where you put them in the transmuter. At least, it will later, but it doesn't matter right now where I put it. So Stamina 4, Command X is what I want. That's exactly what I'm getting. Or sorry, not Stamina 4, Solidity 4. Because both of these also have the Solidity 4. Now the reason that's important is because if I put all 3 of these in here, what it's going to do is it's going to make a Mana Stone that contains the stats of all of them, but any duplicate stats are only counted once. So they all have Solidity 4 on them, but it only has 1 Solidity 4, because you can't have duplicates of the same stat on a Mana Stone or a piece of gear. And it goes up to a maximum of 6 stats. And it put them in order of their ranking. So the Command X and the Stamina X are both a higher ranking stat than the Authority 5. And you can see that because normally this, whatever's in this slot gets the highest priority, then I think it's this one, this one, this one, and this one, or maybe it's this one, this one. I don't remember. But I can actually test it. So if I put this here, it goes Stamina, then Command. Okay, so this one is a higher priority than this, because Stamina and Command X are both the same ranking. So it goes there, this. Pretty sure that's right. If I do this, will it stay the same? Yeah. Okay, so I'm right. It goes here, 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 here. Yeah, because it swapped them. Now, I'm not actually going to make this Mana Stone. What I'm going to do instead is I'm going to put this in there with it. And now, once you have the piece of gear, it will combine the stats of these 3 as well as the stats that are on this. And you can see that. That's what it did right here. It took the element and the Solidity 7. You'll notice that on here, it says Solidity 7, then Element 4. But because Element 4 is a lower ranking stat, it takes priority, so it goes first. And that's going to be the first piece it takes. It always takes the priority of the piece of gear, and then it worries about the ranking. So it's going to take the Element 4, then it's going to take the Solidity 4, because that's still a lower rank than the Solidity 7. The Solidity 4, that is it all on all 3 of these. Then there's the Solidity 7, the Authority 5, because that is the next ranking, and then these 2 are in the order that I have them. If I wanted to swap those Command X and Stamina X, just because I like the way it looks, I could do that, and it'll do it. But if I put this here, it's not going to change the order of any of them, because the ranking is more important than the positioning in the transmuter. The position in the transmuter only matters if they are of the same rank. So let's see. Do I like that? I think I do want the command first. Yeah, I think that's the way I want it. So I'm going to go ahead and confirm. And boom, there we go. You can see I'm getting some good bonuses already over my old hat, but there's one more thing I got to do. I want that block 5 rune that is in my Anklon's Wisdom hat to also be in my Crown of Madness. So I've got this basic armor driller, which I bought with Furious tokens. I'm going to drill a hole. And then, in case you weren't aware, here's something that you can do. If you've already put your runes in a piece of gear, this is what I want. You can come down here. I believe you can also activate this by shift right click. You can activate the rune extraction interface, but you can also do it by coming down here, hitting the cog, clicking rune extraction. You're going to drag that item in here, and then it will bring up all of the runes that are in there. There's only this one rune, so I'm going to click on that. It'll tell you it's going to cost 40k to remove it. It costs more the higher ranking and the higher tier the rune is. It's going to cost me 40k. That's okay with me, so I'm going to hit confirm. And I got my block 5 rune out. And then I'm just going to right click it and click my Crown of Madness, put it in there, and voila. And that's how much better it is. It's about 360 more physical defense, 420 more hit points, 20 more physical attack. That'll be nice. Now, for the clean statting. You can see I've got a bunch more stuff. So this is the piece that I'm going to stat. These are the pieces that I'm grabbing the stats from, that I'm taking the stats off of. You'll notice that there are more than 6 stats between all these, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, but I'm not going to actually use all of them, and you'll see why. This is just to make a blank, and you'll see that as well. So, for these, I'm not going to use those fusion stones like I have in here. I had these in storage that have a single tier 4 tier 4 green stat on them. I have a bunch of those that I've been saving up. I'm not going to use one of those. Instead, I've got some purified fusion stones in here. These are functionally the same as regular fusion stones. The difference is that they have no stats on them. So, whenever I put them in the Arcane Transmuter to create a Mana Stone, it will create the Mana Stone with only the stats that are on the gear. Something else to point out is that you see it has the Barbarian 5 stat on it. Above that, you can see there's the green plus 288 maximum HP stat. That is what is called a ghost stat. That is a piece of stat that is part of the shoulders. It's part of that piece of gear. It's not a stat that can be extracted. So whenever I put this Purified Fusion Stone in the Arcane Transmuter with this, it's only going to give me the Barbarian 5 stat. And remember when I was saying before that sometimes you get a higher tier Mana Stone than the gear. So this is a tier 3 pair of shoulder guards. But the Fusion Stone is a tier 4. That happens sometimes. It doesn't always happen with all purples, because if you look at this one, it's also purple. Okay, this is tier 2. So it is happening with this one. This is a tier 2 hammer. It comes out as a tier 3. But let's see, this one is tier 3, and it still comes out tier 3. You kind of have to experiment. Good thing is, you can just put them in here and check. You can put any fusion stone, even a dirty green one. You can put it in here just to see what tier Mana Stone it will get. It doesn't matter if it's purified or not. The tier of the Mana Stone will be the same. So I've got 3 here that are going to make tier 3 Mana Stones. And then 2 pieces of gear that are going to make a tier 4 Mana Stone. That's important. Because you'll remember from when we made this, I needed 3 Mana Stones of the same tier. So if I do this, and I make this Mana Stone that I want with the tier 4 Mana Stone with the Barbarian 5 stat, I'm going to do that right now. If I do this, I can't put that in the gear with these tier 3 Mana Stones. So what I'm going to have to do is I'm going to go ahead and make these Mana Stones. Just double checking. Always want to double check to make sure you don't make any mistakes, especially with these purified fusion stones, because they are expensive. To buy them out of the item shop or with Furious tokens, they are not cheap. Alright. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a tier 4 by putting all of these here together. And then I will get a tier 4 Mana Stone that contains all 6 of these stats. And want to make sure that they are in the order that I want. That is the order that I want. It'll always take this one as as priority because the Authority and Seclusion 5 are lower than these yellow 6 stats, so it doesn't matter. But if I wanted to have the Fang and Observance first, I could do that, but I do not want that. There's a specific reason I want to make sure that Fang and Observance is the last stat. Because that Observance 6 stat, Dex and HP, I don't want that stat. So I'm going to push that off, and you'll see how in a little bit. So that looks good to me. That's how I want it. So I'm going to hit confirm. Alright. Now, I need 3 stats. I need 3 Mana Stones, sorry. So, what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually make a tier 4 blank. There's nothing on this. I'm doing that by buying this tier 4 belt. What they would do back in the day is they would get equipment like that, like those shoulders with the Barbarian 5 stat on them. They would get them like that, but maybe with like a Barbarian 6 stat on them, if they don't want that Barbarian 6, or they'd get a yellow 6 stat that they didn't want, and they would put it last so it would get pushed off. I could have done that, but what I'm going to do instead is I'm just going to make a blank because I can do that. It's just going to be easier for me. And you can buy these in Limo, by the way, if you are in need of these, or get a higher level player to get them for you if you can't get there. So here we go, I'm going to make that. Right. Now, here is the moment of truth. I put all 4 of these in here. Now, I could make this tier 5, I'm not going to. But you can see, oops. Okay, there we go. My mouse was acting up. That Observant 6 stat, because it is the bottom stat on here, and because it is the same ranking as those other yellow 6 stats, it is going to have the lowest priority, and it is going to get pushed right off. So it's going to take my Barbarian 5, it's going to put that at the top of the list, and everything else is going to move down. So here I have Authority Seclusion, Fang, Barbarian, Authority Seclusion, Fang. And that's what I'm going to want. Of course, I'm going to want that on my piece of equipment. And there's one other thing I'm going to do. I'm going to see about rearranging. I think if I do this... Yeah, so here's something interesting. Even though my Barbarian 5 stat is in the lowest priority slot, okay, it doesn't go below the Fang because Barbarian 5 is less than the yellow tier 6s. It's a lower rank. So... instead, it does go above the Authority 5 and Seclusion 5 that are on this, but it does not go below the Authority 6 and Seclusion 6, and that's the way I want it to look. So that's the way I'm going to want them in there. But before I do that, there's something important I gotta do. Actually, hold on, I can show this. I can show why. Because... you see, there's a Ferocity 4 stat on here that I do not want. That's a stat that I don't want. 18 strength and 36 mana points. That's almost useless for me. But because it's a lower... because, well, for one thing, it's on the piece of gear, and it is a equal or lower ranked stat than the stats I'm trying to put on it, it takes priority, no matter where I put it. Even if I put it in the lowest priority slot, it would still stay on there. So, I have to get rid of that. And there's only really one way to do that. Because it's lower ranked than the stats that I want. The only way I can get rid of that is by using one of these, Random Attribute Extraction Stones. I'm going to just remove one of them. Before I can do that, I need to remove this add-on that I've got. So I'm going to pause it and do that real quick. Alright, I'm back. So I had to do that so that I could access this. So if you click on this little chest here, it brings you into the Random Attribute Extraction interface, which you need one of these. Again, it's an item shop item. They are actually more than 3 times as expensive as the Purified Fusion Stones are. So, use them carefully, because they're also very expensive. But what it's going to do is it's going to remove a random attribute or a random stat from this piece of gear. Because this piece of gear only has one stat, it's going to remove exactly that one. Now there's also an item shop item called Attribute Extraction Stone or something like that. You can use it to extract a specific one, and I could use one of those as well. But they are more expensive. They cost like 80 diamonds. This costs like 50. So this is the most cost-effective way to do it. And whenever, if I were to use one of those other stones, it would just delete it. Using this, I'm actually going to get that ferocity stat, or if there were multiple stats on here, a random one of those stats. I would get it as a mana stone. And this is also going to be a case of this cape will make a tier 4 mana stone. So I'm going to hit confirm. There we go. I get both of them back. Well, I get this back. That obviously gets consumed. The stat is gone, but now I've got this Ferocity 4 Mana Stone, which I can keep, and if I wanted to put that on another piece of gear later, I could. I might find a use for it, or I might just chuck it. We'll see. But for now, alright. I have this nice clean cape. I'm going to stick that in here. I want this to be highest priority. And that Observance 6 stat is going to get pushed off by the Barbarian. There we are. That's exactly what I want. Right there. So I'm going to, let's see, I'm just going to double check. Authority 5, Seclusion 5, Barbarian 5, Authority 6, Seclusion 6, Fang 6. Yep, that's what I want. Awesome, that's a beautiful cape. Let's hit confirm. Sweet. Yeah, okay. Now, one more thing I want to do is this Ancestor's Charm cape that I'm wearing currently has got my Block 5 and Aggression 5 runes in them. So we're going to do this again. Again, you can do it this way, or you can also just shift right-click it, and that'll open the interface with the item already in there. You can only remove one at a time. I can't click both of them and hit confirm, so I'm going to remove the Block 5. I'm going to remove the Aggression 5. Both of them are costing me 40k each. And then I can close it. Now, oops, I already had some Aggression 5s down here. So now I'm going to put the Block 5 in the new cape. There it is. Wonderful. And the Aggression 5. Sweet. And there it is. There's my wonderful new cape. That's pretty great. Pretty exciting. And because this is a set piece, I'm also going to get the 2-piece set bonus of 200 HP and another 20 stamina. Alright, here we go. Equipping it. Sweet! That's beautiful. Awesome. I hope you guys found this informative. Thanks for watching. If you have any other questions, feel free to ask. Or if you would like me to go into more detail about anything that I didn't hear, I can do that as well. Thanks for watching. Bye. See you next time.